I'm Joey Williams with CAPA Strategies. I'm glad here to share the results of our heat mapping and air quality mapping campaign from last summer. I'll start with the heat results in our summary report. So what happens when there's a lot of solar radiation on a hot day with low winds and low precipitation? And that can give us a sense of how do these materials of the built environment, like concrete and asphalt or buildings, compare in heat distribution with areas that have a lot of potentially tree canopy or open preserved natural space. So what you may have seen previously in your planning efforts are land surface temperature maps, which are generated from satellites primarily. And that gives us a picture of what the heat distribution is on the ground, but from a very top-down view. So it'll read the top of a building, it'll read the pavement, it'll read the top of a tree canopy, but what we're trying to get at here is a little bit more on the ground. What do people experience as they're moving about in the ambient environment, about 1 to 2 meters above the ground? That's where the sensor is mounted on the vehicle. That's where what our results describe. So it's really all about that kind of distribution of heat that might affect someone as they're, for instance, walking to the bus stop or maybe opening a window on a hot day. Just to kind of overview the results here, what you're seeing are the 3 different time periods that we went out on August 26th, and we'll zoom into these maps a little bit more, but the general approach was to go out for 1 hour in the morning, in the afternoon, and the evening, and collect data along these pre-planned routes that sample diverse land uses and land covers across the entire area. In total, we gathered 79,000 measurements nearly, with a maximum temperature in the afternoon of 95.5 degrees. And we saw an 8.3 degree maximum temperature differential, which I think was measured in the evening. Basically means that across Fort Wayne at a single time in the evening, we saw a difference as wide as 8 degrees Fahrenheit, which is significant and we know can affect people differently as they move about the ambient environment. So just to start here by time period, this is the morning. This was routes on the left. These look like lines, but they're actual individual temperature measurements collected from the traverses. So you can see the cool temperatures ranging in blue to hotter temperatures ranging in red. On the right, you'll see our modeled temperature distribution. And so what we essentially do is we take satellite imagery and we use that imagery to look at different bands of spectral data. That gives us a sense of how specific locations on the map are influenced by the land cover and land use of surrounding areas. So you can maybe see in the northern area where I see kind of this northern central district, you can see kind of what's I think an industrial commercial area here in the center of the city in the north. And that seems to be measuring quite hot in the morning time. That indicates that there is heat remaining, continuing to contribute to the urban environment from the evening before. You can see in the south, by contrast, areas that have cooled off throughout the night and are starting the day at cooler temperatures. So this is our distribution in the morning time, and you'll see this changes a bit in the afternoon from 3 to 4 p.m. Same routes driven, same measurement method. And what you can see here is a lot of more differences in hot spots and cool spots. This is when we've got the most mixing of air happening. This is when the effects of shade and tree canopy are really playing out. And so there's a lot of dynamics happening here in the afternoon. And then in the evening, as things start to cool off, you can see a little bit more even patterning of heat. The places that are not cooling off as fast are really showing up as distinct here. And the rest of the map is starting to cool off, especially in the rural and outskirts areas. So you can see there's kind of some nice correspondence between the afternoon and the evening where there's some cool spots and hot spots. And the morning looks quite a bit different. This is when things are really settled. There's no wind at play. And so I just can kind of click back and forth between those. In the report here, we then have some interpretations, just looking at land cover effects on different hot spots and cool spots that we've pointed out here. We have some technical summaries. This is oftentimes the adjusted R-squared is something that people kind of zoom into to try and understand the validity of the model. And the adjusted R-squared is really just a assessment of how well the model this image on the right is trained to meet the data points gathered on the left. So it's not a great assessment of the accuracy of the measurements. It's more indicative of how finely tuned our model is to the traverse point. So all that to say, these are accurate assessments of the model, not necessarily the gathered measurements. So I know that's a lot of information here. I do want to mention also that the web maps are a really easy way to interact with the data and kind of further explore the results.